Hi, everyone, and thank you once again for joining this session. We're going to be talking about how to unlock the power of Microsoft Identity and Access Management and what are the things that you can leverage and use. So pretty much, I'm just going to get it started immediately. So yeah, this is our first slide. I'm just going to quickly explain the rules and what are we going to do here. So first of all, when it comes to rules, I'm just gonna lay down the basic rules about this webinar. So this webinar is about to take about 45 minutes, and it is not going to be deep in technology. It is more going to be an overview, high overview about the things that you can leverage and that you can utilize if you're having some of the licenses, or if you're not having, if you're planning to take some. When it comes to question and answer part, please be aware that you can communicate via chat. So you can post your questions. The questions are going to be answered. We're going to be having two colleagues who are going to be supporting us in this process, which is going to be Magdi and Nemanja. Please be prepared to use your cell phones. We're going to be having a few QR codes that you can scan in order to follow the whole presentation. So we're going to be asking you questions, so you can pretty much just use your cell phone camera and scan QR codes in order to follow everything that we are showing. So when it comes to agenda, you can see it on the screen. Pretty much, we're going to be doing a quick introduction about the webinar and what is going to be the scope to be covered. And after that, be aware that once when we finish the whole session, you're going to be getting a survey link. Please spend 2-3 minutes, just answer those questions. That's going to be really helpful for us. And thank you in advance. The second part is going to be about main session, when we're going to be talking about the licenses, the features, and differences in between what are you getting if you're having one or the other license. At the end, we're going to be talking about the best practices, and we're going to be sharing our details so we can get in touch and stay in touch and assist you if there is any need for that. Okay, so this is a quick information about the webinar. So first of all, everybody's welcome to this session. We are not having any restraints about who can attend. This workshop was planned to be delivered with the following group of people. So we kind of classify that into 3 or 4 different group of people. But yeah, you don't need to fit in any of them. So even if you are not fitting, you're still welcome. So first of all, we are having, we were planning to have people who are having Microsoft licenses and environment already in place, and they are not sure whether they are utilizing all the features or if they can leverage something additional. If you're not aware what you are actually having at the moment, then this is the right place for you to be. The second group is if you are starting right now with Microsoft and you don't know what you need, you have some rough idea what you want to accomplish, but you're not sure actually what license do you need. So this is a good place for you to be. And at the end, we are also planning to cover some areas where we're going to be talking about how to enhance what you're currently having. And if you're planning to upgrade your license, maybe you actually don't need to do that. Maybe you already have some features that you can leverage or not. So we're going to be talking about that too. When it comes to licenses, we're going to be talking about P1, P2, Entra Governance. That is quite the main scope of the licenses that we're going to be covering. And when it comes to technologies, we're going to be talking about conditional access, multi-factor authentication, self-service password reset, compliance, and we're going to be talking a little bit about AD Sync too. This is a quick introduction about me and Stefan, so I'm just going to start. So first of all, my name is Sreten Gligoric. I am a lead consultant with IC Consult. I've been here for almost 2 years at the moment. And yeah, I'm not gonna keep long on this slide. So pretty much before this, I was working for Microsoft for almost 5 years as a subcontractor and contractor, and I was covering a lot of technologies. And if you're interested in getting to know what I actually know, you can just simply scan this QR code and you can see all of the certificates. And I believe that the most important one is Microsoft Certified Trainer. So pretty much that's the reason I'm hosting this session. And I'm gonna be transferring over to Stefan.
Yeah, thanks, Sreten. Warm welcome from my side. My name is Stefan Lutz. I'm with IC Consult since 2015, working as a lead consultant and overseeing the delivery in our 7 region in Stuttgart. Obviously, Sreten is the guy with the Microsoft knowledge. He will be the expert here, and I'm going to add a couple of things we've delivered based on our best practices and project approaches throughout the last years. So again, warm welcome from our side. This is just a very quick overview of what IC Consult does and who we are. So we are considered one of the largest identity and access management system integrators worldwide, having over 25 years of experience and roughly 900 employees at the moment, covering nearly all global areas with over 20 offices. And we're not just providing a single part of the identity story. We're really focused on delivering everything out of one single supplier, from business consulting to integration, implementation, but also support operations and managed services for over 30 partners in the identity and access and cybersecurity space. So if you're interested in the whole thing, feel free to scan the QR code, get informed, and get in touch with us. Thanks, and back to Sreten.
Thank you, Stefan. I'm gonna switch to the next slide. Okay, yeah, so pretty much this is the moment where we are getting this going. Please, this is the first moment where you should be using your cell phone, so please get ready. We're gonna be asking you to scan a QR code. Okay, so yeah, this is the slide that I was talking about. So before we get this started, we want kind of to know what licenses are you having at this moment. And it's kind of crucial for you to understand, maybe you're going to be having P1, maybe P2, maybe you don't have any of that. Maybe you're having some other licenses that are containing P1 or P2. So P1, it's a single point which you can just purchase, but you can also be having some other licenses that are already including P1. So for instance, there is Microsoft 365 E3, there is Office 365 E3, EMS E3, or Microsoft 365 Business Premium. All of them are having P1 already inside. There is a second one for P2 that can be also found in Microsoft 365 E5, Office 365 E5, Enterprise Mobility and Security E5, Microsoft 365 E5, Security, and also Microsoft 365 A5. So you may have any of these licenses. They're all listed on the left side at the bottom. So you can have any of those licenses, and you're not even aware that you're having P1 or P2, but they're already included. So please scan this QR code, and then we're going to be stopping with screen sharing for a moment. We're going to put a questionnaire where you can just click which one of the licenses you have at the moment. So I'm just going to get it started. Hopefully you already checked, or you already know which one you have. We're just going to leave you for like a few seconds. Hopefully you can answer immediately that you're going to know what you're having. But even if you don't, that's absolutely fine. We just want to scope out to know what the audience is, so we know what should we focus on and cover more in depth. So far, P2 is kind of winning. I'm surprised, but everybody seems to be having already the highest license, which is really great. And a few of you with Entra ID Governance. I'm gonna stop with the poll and I'm gonna share the details so you can all see. Okay, so I'm gonna be closing. Thank you for your answers. Hopefully you can still see my screen because we're gonna continue back with the presentation. Okay, so yeah, later on I'm gonna be going in depth. This is more of a framework, just so you're aware. When we are talking about licenses, this is kind of simplified explanations. So just so you understand that toward higher license, you pay more money and you're getting more features. So pretty much one follows the other. And if you're already on this workshop, as I said, most likely you either already know this or you're interested in learning about it. So let's just jump to it. I made this kind of presentation really simple so everybody can understand when it comes to features, what it comes with Entra ID free. And it's crucially important to understand for those who answer that they don't have any license at the moment, you don't need to have any. Pretty much you can just go to create Microsoft tenant. Once when you're having a tenant in place, you immediately have all of this on your disposal to be used. So you don't need to pay for any licenses. There are some things that are coming for free. Pretty much when we are talking about Entra ID for free, we already consider that you're having some on-premises environment and that you're going to be doing some synchronization and additional things. But yeah, I'm going to get started with the features and explaining what this means. So first of all, there is cloud authentication. If you're having on-premises environment, you can enable pass-through authentication or password hash authentication, synchronization in order to enable authentication. So your users who are already on-premises, they can sync with the cloud and they can already log in by using cloud technology. The second one is user and group. This is really limited. So pretty much when I'm talking about Entra ID free, everything is limited. So nothing is like, oh, it's full benefit coming with it. Yeah, you can start using it. It's more for playing around and learning about it than for real benefit. So user and group, it's kind of really basic user management. You can create a group, which is going to be a static group. You include certain people, you do role assignment, but that's pretty much it. You're not having a lot of options and a lot of things that you can do. The next one is multi-factor authentication, and it's a great feature and absolutely necessity. But it's kind of limited with Entra ID free because you cannot do anything you want. The only thing that you can do is pretty much just enable or disable on the whole tenant. So there are no configurations. There are not small parts that you can decide different groups, different people. No, it's just simple as that. You either enable or disable. The next one is self-service password reset. And for this one, you cannot use it for on-premises. You can use it only for cloud users. So even though you're having some from on-premises, when it comes to Entra ID free, it is not going to allow you to do self-service password reset for on-premises users. In case that maybe I'm using too many acronyms, so yeah, I'm just gonna explain multi-factor authentication, you already know, but self-service password reset is the feature that you're getting to enable for users where you want to make them able to reset their password on their own in case they forget what their password is. Usually they're going through service desk and that costs money and you need to have resources. By enabling this feature, you're cutting the cost and they can do that on their own without having additional resources. Okay, so the next one is single sign-on, and this one is unlimited, so there are no restrictions, even though this is for free. Yeah, I think it's kind of worth mentioning that, yes, there is no limitation when it comes to single sign-on, but at the same time, if you're not having any licenses, that means maybe you're not going to be able to publish some applications or connect it. So pretty much, yeah, it's unlimited, but unlimited within the scope of free. So the next one is federated authentication. So you can have Active Directory federation services or federation with other identity provider. So even if you're having some other one, not ADFS from on-premises, you can still connect it. And this is all for free. Basic, limited, but free. So now we are getting into a little bit more complicated situation. So this one is what P1 does. So you can see the blue circle with all green things, and that's kind of extension to already existing Entra ID for free. So the first and the most important part is to mention in which licenses we have P1. I know already mentioned that at the start, but it's kind of crucial for you to just check whether you're fitting into this one. So Microsoft 365 E3, Office 365 E3, EMS E3, that is Enterprise Mobility and Security, and Microsoft 365 Business Premium. So if you're having any of these licenses, you're having already all these features mentioned here. So user and group. We already mentioned this in previous slide, but now we are getting to the part that with P1, we are having an extension to this. So you can also have dynamic groups and dynamic group assignment for application or conditional access. Dynamic group are pretty much extremely important when it comes to Entra because that makes everything automatic without human interaction and everything performs in the background. So I'm just going to spend a little bit of time to explain how dynamic group can be beneficial for you. Let's say you're having a HR tool for onboarding new people, and in that HR tool, you need to select for which role the person is hired. Once when you do that, and the user is provisioned to Entra, Entra can automatically say, okay, based on the information we got from HR tool, this user is supposed to be, let's say, in HR or IT. Based on that, all the groups, all permissions, all SharePoint sites, everything can be assigned. So dynamic group is automatically pulling out into our information and checking what is the attribute. It says HR or IT is going to put user into specific destination, and the user is going to get all the access that is needed. So this is really important, and it already comes with P1 license. So if you are looking for automation, this is definitely the thing you should go for. So the next one is multi-factor authentication. And in this time, we are extending it a little bit more with features. So it can be group-based, and it can be different multi-factor authentication option for different users. So by default, we had only one option, but now you can say, I want people from IT to use multi-factor authenticator app. I want people from HR to use SMS. So it's not recommended, but you can still make different groups, different rules based on their needs. So you may have multiple departments. You can, at this moment with P1, already decide what you want to do. The next feature that you're getting is health monitoring, which is detailed report about your ADFS or ADDS, about health status, and performance monitoring like CPU, memory consumption. So even getting alerts in case that there is something broken. So your AD is not syncing, you immediately get notifications. So this is automatically immediately implemented, and it's a really beneficial thing to have when you're having on-premises environment. So now we are having self-service password reset, which is at this moment with P1 already extending to on-premises environment. So it's no longer only for cloud users. Now you can do specific groups, specific users, and everything can be also cloud. The next one is cross-tenant sync, which is kind of new feature, yet it is connected with AD sync, but at the same time, you're having tenants on cloud already, and then there is another tenant, maybe you acquired new company, or maybe you're having separate company that you want all of a sudden to merge together and then apply the same rules. So you can connect these two tenants from the cloud, and by doing that, you increase your security posture, because whatever rule you set on one tenant, that's going to be applicable for the other user logging from the other tenant. So pretty much it brings a lot of benefits when it comes to building trust. The next one is single sign-on, and this extends to application proxy on premises and publishing your on-premises application. So that one comes with P1 license, because now you can do that if you're having P1. The next one is session lifetime. And this is really important when it comes to limiting access to a certain period of time. Let's say you're having endpoint user who logged in 3 months ago, but he's never turning off his device and he's continuously logged in. So he's just opening a page or application, click continue, and he's in. So with this thing, you can increase your security, and you can set a lifetime for the token to be like 1 week, which is recommended, or even shorter for certain high security applications. And by doing that, you can already implement with P1. And yeah, really important part is also conditional access engine, which includes all the possible options, but we're going to be having a separate slide only for that. So I'm not going to be talking at the moment about it. Okay, so this is now P2. Yeah, this is already extension to P1, and it includes following licenses. So Microsoft 365 E5, Office 365 E5, Enterprise Mobility and Security, EMS, E5, Microsoft 365 E5 Security, and Microsoft 365 A5. So you already think like, I already have everything with P1, so why would I need P2? Of course, there is an extension to everything. So whatever you think you already have, there is additional thing that you can leverage and use. So when it comes to sign-in risk, actually, let's start from beginning. You're having conditional access policy, which you were able to configure and to use with P1 to a certain extent. So you didn't have an option to talk about sign-in risk you couldn't keep track about user, how does it look once when they're logging in and what is happening. So with this thing, we are extending, and now you are getting an option to use sign-in risk, which is in real time happening. Microsoft is checking in every single moment when a user is trying to log in, whether he's logging in 10 minutes from 2 different geographical locations, and that's going to be recognized and impossible travel, or if a user is using infected device, and based on all of that, you can set an action. There can be 3 different levels: high, medium, or low level when it comes to risk. And then based on those levels, you can choose what you want to do with the user. Do you want password reset? Do you want to enforce multi-factor authentication? So this is addition that comes with P2. We are having another also feature that is called user risk. And this is analyzing all the signals that are coming when it comes to a login. So Microsoft is continuously running checks for all email addresses, UPNs, and also matching whether there is anywhere publicly leaked password. So if Microsoft checks that on dark web, by the way, including, so if it recognizes that there is in one place email address and password, it's immediately going to send you alert, and then you can take an action based on that. You want to require password reset, or you want to enforce multi-factor authentication, or block access completely. So those are the options that you can do. So it is continuously, Microsoft is doing that all the time, but they're not going to notify you unless you have P2. Okay, so the next one is device and application filter. So in conditional access, you're having really granular options when it comes to choosing specific things, specific labels, custom made labels for applications and groups. If you're not having P2, then you can just apply for a certain application, but that's it. But with P2, you can add custom labels to certain applications, and they say, hey, I want you to block only users who are trying to do this from this specific network or outside of this network, and then this is going to work. So it's more granular, giving you more options. The next feature, and also equally important, is token protection, and it's kind of new feature. So Microsoft is allowing issued token for authentication to be used only on that one specific device for which Microsoft issued the token. If you try to steal the token and transfer to another device, it is going to be recognized and blocked immediately. So this is coming also with P2, not available with P1. Okay, so also we are having basic entitlement management, the one that I wrote on the right side. So with P1, you're having only access packages. You can create it, assign it, and approve it. And that's pretty much it. But when it comes to P2, you're having, once again, more granular control. You have dynamic assignment based on the role. So you select if the user is this role, you can assign specific things. It can also check on attributes for that user. Multi-level approvals can also be an option, like you want to assign specific package that includes resources for team, channel, SharePoint, and certain application. You can say the manager needs to approve whether this person should be having all of this access, but also you can include additional layer of protection and put another person to be doing the check as well. So that user is not going to get access unless 2 people approve it. Once again, P2. It's not included in P1. Okay, and yeah, I believe also additional benefit is all the employees are getting My Access portal where they can check for the packages and do self-assignment for what they need, so they can manage their access on their own. If they think they should get access to a certain application and then after maybe 1 or 2 months they should be offboarded, they can just go and cancel the package they got. So pretty much self-service is also important, once again with P2. Okay, so the next slide is about Entra ID governance. So license model, this is completely separated. So you may be having P1, you may be having P2, but when it comes to Entra ID governance, you need separately to pay for that one. So that is kind of on top of P1 or P2. Yeah, as a separate feature, as a separate license, it brings separated features. So first, and I'm just gonna start with the most important one, which is machine learning. If you purchase this license, you can automatically create insights to be popping out and notifying you about analysis of the behavior for all access patterns. So the system can process all the details about your whole tenant, check every user, how did they log in, where did they log in from, and everything, and give you some insights about all of that. And that's going to be automatically included with this license. It can also help you with continuous improvement. The system is learning continuously what is happening, where people working from, whether there are some people outstanding from the pattern logging from different locations. So it is going to collect all the data, it is going to process, and then it's going to give you insights, maybe enforce conditional access policy and use multi-factor authentication for this group of users. They're working remotely. So yeah, all of this can come from this license. The next one is entitlement management, and we are having this feature already mentioned with P1 and P2. So what is new when it comes to Entra Governance? In this moment, we can use custom extensions for logic apps. So there is integration, which is a way simpler. We can extend the scope for entitlement management, and then with Azure Logic Apps, we can do multiple different things. We can also apply for verified ID. So only verified ID identities can grant access. The other ones can be completely blocked. And we are also having lifecycle workflow. So automated onboarding or offboarding when it comes to new people or people who are leaving and if they are changing roles. This all can be automated with Entra Governance. You're also getting the dashboard where it's a simplified, centralized place where you get all the insights. So you don't need to go, typically you would go to Entra ID and check logs, and then you're going to maybe Sentinel to see what is the reason behind it, what's recognized as a problem. So all of that is going to be kind of unified in identity governance dashboard. So you can kind of easily keep a track about all the actions and everything that is happening. And they're going to be also offering actions which you can take in order to protect your environment. So it's even actionable. It's not only for overview. Okay, so how to make use out of all of this? And yeah, next picture is going to explain everything, right? So yeah, this one is pretty much the concept of zero trust, including multiple different things. It looks confusing, and pretty much that was the point. That's the reason I included it. I want you to understand how complex zero trust is, because everybody's talking about zero trust, but not so many people understand exactly in how deeply you need to be into that in order to collect all the signals, use all the signals, and put everything to bring benefit. So with that reason, I'm going to be switching to conditional access. I mentioned it multiple times, and this is the only technical part in my presentation that I'm going to be talking about some technical things. So conditional access and how to configure it and what are the options. So first of all, what is conditional access and what is the purpose of that? I know most of you already know, but I'm sure that there are some who are not fully aware, so I'm just going to quickly cover it. So when it comes to conditional access, Microsoft created a solution where you're going to be able to select granular options for every single configuration. And at the end, there is going to be an action, whether you want to approve someone to log in, or you want to block that user, or if you want to enforce some additional security things. So let's start from the beginning. The first screenshot that you can see, that one is actually once when you're creating new conditional access policy. So first you're going to name it, and then the second part, which I skipped already, is select users. So you can select specific users. You can select dynamic group, of course, if you're having P1, P2. So you can select dynamic group. You can select a specific role, like I want only admins to have this applied, or only user managers can have assigned are going to have this policy assigned. So pretty much it's really giving options for details, so you can choose whatever you want, and then based on your configuration, they're gonna get assigned the policy. The next one is targeted resources. You can select cloud applications, you can select all the application, you can select a specific application. I'm sure you're mostly having a lot of apps deployed, so you can select manually which one, or you can, if you're having P2 license, select an attribute, and then based on that attribute, you can assign this policy. So this is going to be the second one. And by the way, important thing, you can always exclude. You don't need to include everything. Even though you select all the applications that are high security needs to be protected, you can still select which one to be excluded. The next one is network, which is kind of a new feature. It's already labeled as new. So you can select from which network you want to allow users to log in. We are also having an option to classify IP addresses, or you want to use already predefined options, all trusted networks and location, which is something that you need to fill in another place in order for system to know what is trusted. But anyways, there are a lot of options and you can configure that and also use it. So the next one is condition. And in this one, we have a lot of options. So the user risk that I previously mentioned, this is the one. So you can, at this moment, select and say only low-level risk users can have access to high importance application. You can block immediately everyone who is not having low security, low user risk status. Also sign in. If you see that the user is high, you can immediately select here and say blocked. So this is all at the moment only configuration. At the end, there is going to be an action. But the key thing is to understand all the possible options you have when it comes to defining what you're gonna action on at the end. So user risk, sign-in risk, insider risk, device platform, location, and client app. Really cool thing is this client app, I would say. So you can decide if a user is logging to your application by using application, yes, allow that. But if the user is using cloud website to log into the application, you can block it. Location we already mentioned, device platform. If you're using Android, apply this. If you're using macOS, apply this. So you have an option to separate every single thing. And all of these combined, you can calculate how many options you have. So once when we configure all of this, at the end, we are having an option to do the read-only thing, or we want to turn this on or off. So if you are testing things out, we're always suggesting you to go with report only, because you can keep it like that for a week. You're gonna get a report, see what users will be blocked, and then if that's correct way to configure, then you enable it. But at the moment, we're just gonna leave everything to report only. Session part, I didn't take a screenshot. This is kind of important part I previously mentioned, where you want to limit token life and you want people to log in back in after a certain period of time. You can apply for only high-level applications. This is just a use case. So you select all the important applications, all the user, and you say session needs to expire every 7 days. And that's pretty much it. So when it comes to what is the access control outcome going to be, you can block whatever you configured previously. You can say block. The simplest possible scenario, you say if the user is recognized as high risk and sign-in risk is also recognized as high, immediately block. And there is no reason to think about anything else. If you want to grant access, then you can be like, I want to request additional multi-factor authentication because I don't recognize that you're trustworthy. Or you can say, if device is hybrid join device and Entra is already managing that device, then I definitely know already who the user is and I trust that device because I'm the one who pushed the policy for protection, security, and everything. So in that case, I can just allow that. So once when you do all of that, you can just click select and then create. I almost missed the part that you can apply only one of these, or you can apply multiple of them, and then the first moment when one of them is accomplished, you're ready to go. I hope I managed at least a little bit to get you closer to conditional access and how it works. Okay, so Stefan, feel free to jump in.
Yeah, thank you, Sreten. Beautiful insights and a lot of knowledgeable stuff. So, from my side, I'm going to guide you a little bit about the best practices we've made from previous Entra projects, especially from moving into the Microsoft Cloud and the Microsoft services. So, what we did is to summarize that in our top 5 main topics. Um, let's start with the expectations you have towards a platform like Microsoft Entra. So what we see from a lot of projects is that we are not only talking about a change in technology. So we're not only moving like an Active Directory to an Azure Active Directory. It always comes with a change in processes, with stuff that changes. For example, take your single sign-on services, or you might have to move your applications, or your users are going to use new password resets and other stuff that is changed. So don't solely focus on the technology itself. It's more than that. Especially when switching to a SaaS product, which Microsoft Entra is, you have to keep up with standards. And standardization firstly comes with additional costs before it delivers benefits. So what we often see is that there's kind of an underestimation in terms of standardization and what you need to do when moving to a product like Microsoft Entra. You kind of need to adapt to that, and especially to the APIs and the SDKs that are available. We've just recently seen a change in the AD PowerShell, which is now moving to the Graph PowerShell SDK. It's all things you need to keep in mind. You're no longer just solely focused on the stuff you're doing yourself, but you might have a larger product in the background which needs to fit into your overall strategy. That kind of aligns with the third point, which you need to understand. It's not just a new technology you're introducing, it's also a new platform. It gives you a lot of possibilities, and I think we've seen a lot of them with what Sreten already talked about. So think of that, think of what you can use with it, but also think of what you need to govern in that. So a lot of possibilities and stuff around that just need kind of governance, need new approvals. You're switching into a cloud project, and I think a lot of you already made that in the past and have understood that it changes a lot, not just in technology, but also in security and operations and processes around that. And that's first of all an investment case, and then kind of a benefit towards the whole organization. Another very important thing is that you have to understand that we're now talking about zero trust. We're no longer just focused on firewalls and the classic perimeter security. That's generally speaking a change that comes from moving into the cloud projects as well, especially with opening things with Microsoft Entra. We've seen that a lot of organizations have not had that on their minds, but really moving the first step, especially with the Microsoft 365 products. So that's definitely something we can help you with. The last thing that comes from all the new technology is that you still have the old one. And you might even need to think about what to do with that one. So a lot of people are just moving into the cloud thinking that there is no need for like an Active Directory or the Directory Federation services. But well, most often there's really a reason for that being there. We really want to emphasize that it makes sense to have a long-term strategy on what to do with those older technologies, especially with the on-prem Active Directories, which we see are really deeply integrated in a lot of industry products and services. So based on that, we have conducted kind of a journey which we're using to support you. Could you please move one further, Sreten? Thanks. So this journey is basically built around a general expectation approach we have. It's built around the services we are offering, but it's also rather high level to support you in your way. So what we've already seen is that it basically makes sense to really look into the products, into the possibilities you have with them. And Sreten gave some examples that are based on the license model. So it really makes sense to look at that into detail. If you really need to go for the E5 license, so it makes sense to stick to the E3 as well. If there might be some additional products in the company, how it fits into your landscape. And let's just take one example. For example, if you're talking about an AD migration to Azure AD, it's not just about moving some attributes or GPOs. You always need to consider how you manage those connections between the directories, how you monitor them, how you make sure that everything still runs smoothly, and which is going to be the leading source for your identities. You need to rethink your integration processes, support and operational stuff. So it all makes sense to be planned ahead. Once you've done that, we're there to assist you in your development and rollout. So we can help you creating a structured roadmap and align with your business objects. The idea is that we're using our strength in the integration space to really be there with our 900 consultants, with over 20 locations worldwide, be at your side, help you where it needs to be, and really get that thing going. Another recommendation would be not to make your program too big. Start with a pilot. For example, if you're thinking about turning on Windows Hello for Business, there might be some key considerations when configuring it in terms of PKIs and device enrollment, in MFA enrollment. Keep it smaller, take a small test group out of it, try out if you're really ready for that, and then go step by step for the bigger ones. And that's a whole recommendation throughout the whole program or process when moving to Microsoft Entra. Take smaller steps and continue improving. Get the benefit in there quite quickly, and then build up on that. Next one, please. This is just one little thing I'd like to show from what we can do to support you. It's a small checklist we've conducted for the very beginning, just showing some examples out of many from our consulting services. It's what I've just said. It's not only focused on technology, but also on the overall strategy and the processes and service models that come around that. So it's really important to just look at the whole big picture of moving there and changing something. And yeah, it's not just a solution you're moving to, it's rather a platform, and it really helps painting the bigger picture, seeing all the possibilities and chances to help you leverage your business. Thanks for that. We have made another little QR code. It will directly route you to our website, helping you to get in touch with us. So we hope you really like the webinar and the content we've delivered for you. So this would be the possibility to get in touch with us beyond the chat. For sure, we will answer all of your questions and come back to you with a follow-up, sending you the slides and the recording of the session. So be sure you get everything from ourselves. And we're really happy getting in touch with you. So
I'm talking on mute as always. So Yeah, so sorry about that. So yeah, I just wanted to thank everybody for joining this session. Please expect shortly after we finish this session to get a survey. It's going to land into your mailbox, so it's just a few clicks. I really hope that you're going to have a few minutes just to provide us with the feedback. Also, please scan the codes if you want to get in touch. And if you have any follow-up questions, you can reach out to us. We previously shared the QR code, so that is going to land you directly to our contact us page of IC Consult. So if you want to have any follow-up, please reach out. Also, the survey is going to contain a place where you can provide if you have any questions or if you want to get engaged and have a communication or with an expert. So you can just provide your contact details and we're going to reach out to you. So yeah, once again, thank you so much for joining this webinar. I really hope that you enjoyed it and you heard something new and useful. Thank you all.
Thank you.